So when I say religion poisons everything, I mean to say it infects us in our most basic integrity. It says we can't be moral without Big Brother, without a totalitarian permission. It means we can't be good to one another. It means we can't think without this. We must be afraid. We must also be forced to love someone who we fear. The essence of sadomasochism, the essence of abjection, the essence of the master-slave relationship, and that knows that death is coming and can't wait to bring it on. I say this is evil.
So, does religion poison everything like you just heard Christopher Hitchens say? Does religion, or is his categorical denunciation of religion as evil, is that true? Is that fair? Categorical statement to make about religion? And is Hitchens right in giving atheism a pass? He says atheism is the only viable alternative to religion. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why Hitchens is wrong. 1, I'm going to call a witness, Albert Einstein, a non-religious person, and give you his take about the church. 2, I'm just going to use simple logic. And 3, I'm going to use history. Hi, my name's Todd, and welcome to Mission Millennial Z Alpha Generations, where we share the other side of the creation story with today's youth. Now, Christopher Hitchens is one of the 4 horsemen of the atheist apocalypse, the new atheist apocalypse. Now, he's passed away, but his influence is just as strong today as ever. Now, as you listen to that video clip of his at the beginning, as I listened to it, I was just struck by how atrocious a misrepresentation, straw man misrepresentation of what, well, us Christians, us believing Christians of the Christian religion, what we actually believe and feel. It was a total misrepresentation. I could take an hour on that, but I'm not going to break down each point he made. I'm tempted to, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'm just going to talk about his categorical denunciation of religion and that alone. Now, the first person I want to bring to the witness stand, so to speak, is Albert Einstein. Now, Albert Einstein said this regarding the church. Now, Albert Einstein had to flee Germany because of persecution, because of what was happening there. Most of you know what happened there. So here's what he said. Only the church, which Hitchens says is the root of all evil, right, which poisons everything, stood squarely across the path of Hitler's campaign for suppressing truth. By the way, Hitler was really an atheist. If you really look into it, he was. He used religion to trick people, just like politicians do. They'll pray and whatever, but they don't go to church. They don't care about religion. They just do things to get people to vote for them. But anyway, for suppressing the truth, I never had any special interest in the church before. But now I feel a great affection and admiration because the church alone, which is the root of all evil, which poisons everything, according to Hitchens, keep that in mind. This is just a simple refutation I'm doing here, has had the courage and persistence to stand for intellectual truth and moral freedom. Now, the interesting thing about this quote is that when I first heard it, I was surprised. You know why? Because I had the most dire view of the church. Because the church, now there's 2 churches we should talk about when we talk about the Christian church. The one church is just usually the organized church, but not always. The organized church, it goes along with whatever the political winds are. These are the false Christians who enabled Hitler to rise to power. Einstein was brilliant. He saw that. So that's the one church. The other church is the real believers, what they were called the confessing church in Germany. And like Dietrich Bonhoeffer, there's a movie out about him, by the way. that came out a few months ago, Dietrich Bonhoeffer and so forth, who gave their lives to try to stop Hitler and to assist Jews to get out of the country. Now, think about that. Are they poisoning everything? Those confessing church believers? See what happens when you have to use straw men to try to push your own religion, which atheism is, for all intents and purposes. They have faith that nothing gave birth to everything. That takes more faith than we believe in God has to do it. But whether you call atheism a religion or not is beside the point. Atheists, a lot of atheists were there in Germany. Einstein didn't reference them. He said only the church, the confessing church is what they were, stood against Hitler. Now, I will get into this a little bit later in the next quote. There's an article I want to read from to give the history part of this. And this is from Premier Unbelievable. And you should join their YouTube channel, by the way. They have a lot of interesting debates. They get the best atheist debaters on there and the best theist debaters, and they let them hash it out. Just about every subject they have debates about. It's a really good thing to get into. Even if you're an atheist, go over there sometimes. I think you'll find it pretty interesting. Now, the article here, a guy named, what was it? Well, we'll find out at the end to give his biography, his stats at the end of this. But the article is called 5 Uncomfortable Facts Atheists Need to Hear. And number 1 is the one I want to concentrate on right now. Atheism is responsible for more deaths than Judaism or Christianity. Fascism and communism, both of which were atheist ideologies, and they were, if you really study it out and look into it, murdered more than 150 million people in the 20th century alone. Communists and other godless regimes had continued to kill hundreds of thousands since, like in communist China, where the confessing church had to go underground from the atheists. Religion poisons everything, doesn't it? Well, what about atheism? I won't make a categorical statement about atheism, by the way. Fair play, right? But let's face it. Right now, it's atheists who are persecuting and killing Christians and other people who don't agree with their ideology. By and large, it's mostly atheists and other godless regimes. Add the millions of rapes, tortures, and enslavements by these same godless regimes, and you got yourself a pretty ugly picture. The atheists' favorite go-to accusation against Christianity includes Inquisition, the Crusades, the Salem witch trials, and the church pedophilia scandal. However, even assuming that all such wrongs occurred as a direct result of church doctrine, and I don't assume that because it contradicts the doctrines of Jesus, which we're not going to get into here, but as he said, even if such wrongs occurred as a direct result of church doctrine, they did not, but let's assume so, the numbers dwarf in comparison to what atheism has wrought. The Crusades involved the deaths of approximately 1.5 million people. Most of them were soldiers on both sides, as well as people who died of disease and other peripheral causes. The Inquisition resulted in less than 5,000 deaths over a span of approximately 300 years. The Salem witch trials spanned just 4 months, resulting in a total of 19 killed. There are other so-called killings that occurred as a result of religious fervor, and I don't know why he calls them so-called. The French religious wars, the 30 Years' War, and so forth. But even adding all these up, you could not even reach 10% of the number of deaths that godless regimes have caused. To argue that religion has caused more death than anything else is a quip that has no basis in fact. Now, when you consider that atheism is but a small percentage of the Earth's population compared to religionists, then we see that atheism has a disproportionate amount of culpability in murders, rapes, and killings. Pure and simple. Now let's get back to the article. Number 4, people of faith are responsible for a huge amount of good in our society. Atheists don't give credit for what the church and Judaism have done for civilization. You need not look any further than Christopher Hitchens for that, right? The creation of our notions of justice, the hospital system, the university public schools, charity, progress, truth, and freedom itself. I can go into several hours on this, but I'm not going to. But it's a known fact that Christianity has done much help, much benefit from the world, for the world. You know, the millions of people it's fed, they're not going around saying religion poisons everything. The millions of people that get free operations from Christian doctors, they're not going around and saying religion poisons everything. I can go on and on, but I will spare you for now. Who fought against and ultimately destroyed the evils of slavery? The Christians and the Jews. Who were the only ones who fought against the horrors of eugenics, forced sterilization of those the state deemed inferior, and China's horrific one-child policy? The Christians and Jews. Let's move on. I'm going to just skip down to keep this brief. I said I mentioned the guy who wrote this, Barak Lurie. Is a former atheist. He's a host of the Barak Lurie Show, a big picture look at politics, religion, and the laws in the news. All right, friends, we'll end it there. Suffice it to say, it's wrong to say religion poisons everything, because there are many religions in the world. So there may be some that do nothing but poison things. So be it. But that's on you for including the good ones with the bad ones, right? So in light of this, let's try to be more nuanced in the statements we make, right? Let's be more nuanced. Let's be more fair, because I think the case could be made that atheism poisons more people than Christianity does. There are bad apples in Christianity. Jesus said there are false Christians. Jesus even warned his disciples, there's going to be religious people that are going to come along and kill you. So he made the distinction between the good and the bad, and so should we. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. If you do, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. Pass this channel on to others who you think might be benefited by the material we go over here, especially youth who are only getting one side of the story. Because remember, we're wanting to give the youth the best arguments atheism and theism have, so they can make an informed choice. Have a good day. Bye-bye.